Welcome, everybody, to this evening, um, our weekly Hamirpur Tales Hour. And we are so fortunate to have with us Charles Haynes. And Charles and I go way back. We actually met on a Thursday night at a little Inman Square Baba Center that Charles had set up in Cambridge in the fall of 1971. And we haven't had extensive contact over the years, but he certainly made a significant impression on me then. And as many of you know, Charles was the guest speaker at the recent Sahavas at Meharana near Mariposa, California. And during one of his talks, he shared his experience of being with Erich at Erich Jesawala in Mandalay Hall. And how does that relate to Hamirpur Tales? Well, Charles will detail that in just a moment. But we are very, very grateful to have Charles with us. And without any further ado, welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Alan.
Tales is all yours.
Yeah, well, all I can say is, Alan, you know that you're getting up there when you can say, I've known somebody for more than 50 years. I mean, oh my gosh, that's really mind-boggling, but it's true. But I'm telling you, you're looking good. Looking really good.
And so are you, my dear friend. So are you.
I've worn that joke out, but somebody on here may not have heard it, right? There may be somebody, and that is my license to say there are three stages in life:
Yeah.
youth, middle age, and you're looking good. And I'm definitely in the you're looking
And
good.
what? You're looking good.
I get that all the time. Yeah, but actually, you do, Alan. Kidding aside, you do look good. And there's Charlie barking. Charlie, what are you barking at, sweetie? You can't bark all the time I'm talking, please. This is the thing about dogs.
Oh, sweet. Oh, how pretty she is. Oh, he is. Hi, Charlie.
Yeah, he says, what's going on? Why aren't you holding me? So Alan, yes, Alan actually wanted tonight to have someone speak with you who has, knows Hamirpur very, very well and has been to all 35 of the places Baba visited when in his first visit, and is like an expert. And unfortunately, that person is not here tonight, and I'm filling in. I've never been to Hamirpur, is at least in this lifetime. So who am I to talk to? And many of you know so much more about Hamirpur and Baba and Hamirpur than I will ever know. So that's a little daunting, but that doesn't matter. If you hear it all again, then you hear it all again. So, but I do feel like everyone who loves Baba, a very special place in my heart for Hamirpur, because that's where Baba said his heart is, and towards the end, he said, if you want to see me, when he wasn't seeing people, and go to Hamirpur, right? So, that's all one needs to know. It's a very, very special place. And it was an important moment in Baba's advent when he first went there, right? I mean, it's one of the most significant things. And I'm glad you're having these meetings, because it really is under discussed and underappreciated. The place Hamirpur has played in his life and his work. Now, as you, I'm sure, know as well or better than I do, the Hamirpur visit that and this is Alan's going to say, now look, you told one little story and look at you, you're going all over the place. Well, to get to the story, I'm like Erich that way. To get to the story, you have to say a lot of other things. Well, one of the other things is that uh, the uh, Hamirpur visit was, as I'm sure all of you know, the beginning of the fiery free life. And it's always sort of fascinated me that the fiery free life has not gotten much attention either. I don't know quite why. Maybe because people are not quite sure what that is. And there was the complicated free life. There was life. When Baba said, "This is my first real birthday" on February 12th, 1952. And, you know, I'm not sure people exactly, it's a lot to sort of, what does Baba mean and all that. So maybe that's why it's not been focused on. But the fiery free life was very significant time in his advent, and according to Baba, that's not my idea. And he uh, opened the fiery free life by going to Hamirpur and giving darshan, as you know. Now, he gave a statement about the fiery free life during that mass darshan tour, and he would have it read out. Somebody may know better than I, but I know he had it read out at the darshan programs. Everyone, I'm not sure. He visited, well, I think he visited 17 villages and so forth, but 35 places altogether in the accounts I've read. And it was a whirlwind. Uh, and this statement. So if you all are very familiar with this statement, I will not read it. But if you are not, or if it's been a long time, do you want me to read it? It's a little long.
Absolutely, Charles. Please
Okay.
do read it.
All right. Well, better Baba than me, right? So let's I'll read what he gave out. So Baba had this read out, his statement about the fiery free life in Hamirpur, in different places in Hamirpur district. The role which God has willed for me has several phases. The pre-realization ordinary state, the old life state of realized divinity, the new life state of perfect humanity, and intensive seeking of God as truth through the achievement of Mananash, and the tripartite free life, which emerged after the attainment of Mananash, have all happened by God's will. Just a pause there. It's as though Baba is saying, perfect master, God, divinity, first, and that first, well, pre-realization, and then perfect human, if you will, fully human seeker, perfect seeker, and then after the Mananash and the fiery free life, God man, avatar, yeah, like that. That's how I would say it. Then he goes on to say, in the first part of the free life, culminating on July 10th, 1952, bindings dominated freedom. It was in this part that the personal disaster for some years foretold by me took place in the form of an automobile accident while crossing the American continent, causing me, through facial injuries, broken leg, broken arm, and much mental and physical suffering. It was necessary that it should happen in America. God willed it so. In the second part of this free life, freedom had dominated bindings. And in the third part of this free life, commencing from 15th November 1952, both freedom and bindings are consumed in the fire of divine love, which destroys the very basis of the illusion of duality and all its paraphernalia. I'm not concerned with individual reactions to me as an individual. They will be as various as there are individual temperaments. My sole concern in the fiery free life, commencing from November 15th, will be with the divine truth of my realization, which I would like to share with those who seek it. The consuming of freedom and bindings, which is
Thank you so much.
characteristic of the fiery free life, means that there is a complete blending of the God state and the man state, so that the one does not live through the opposition to the other, and there can be no question of the one encroaching upon the province of the other. Spiritual freedom is essentially a positive state of conscious enjoyment of infinite divinity. It does not have to maintain itself through the constant overcoming of any bindings, for these come to be realized as not bindings of the soul in its essence, but as temporary bindings of the body and mind, which can in no way curtail the bliss, power, and understanding of conscious divinity. In other words, the bindings to which the soul seems to be subject turn out to be no bindings of the soul in its true essence. The bindings are realized as only illusory. After the annihilation of the limited mind, the infinite consciousness of the soul, with all its knowledge, power, and bliss, remains unaffected by any weaknesses or diseases to which the body might yield as a result of natural laws. The perfect ones, who retain normal consciousness and the body, even after realizing the unchanging and absolute truth, dwell eternally in divine love, which transcends all duality and surpasses all understanding. They enjoy abiding and unassailable peace, for they have at last arrived at the final goal of creation. I have no connection with politics. All religions are equal to me, and all castes and creeds are dear to me. But although I appreciate all isms, religious and political parties, for the many good things they seek to achieve, I do not and cannot belong to any of these isms, religious or political parties. For the absolute truth, while equally including them, transcends all of them and leaves no room for separate divisions, which are all equally false. The unity of all life is integral and indivisible. It remains unassailable and inviolable in spite of all conceivable ideological differences. I am equally approachable to one and all, big and small, to saints who rise and sinners who fall, through all the various paths that give the divine call. I am approachable alike to saint whom I adore and to sinner who I am for, and equally through Sufism, Vedanta, Christianity, or Zoroastrianism and Buddhism, and other isms of any kind, and also directly through no medium of isms at all. When I was in America, people asked me, when would I break my silence? I in turn asked them, if my silence cannot speak, of what avail would be speeches made by the tongue? When God thinks my speaking will be heard universally, he will make me break my silence. However, silence or no silence, he who would deeply ponder over the truth which I declare shall eventually be initiated into the life eternal. Side by side with other activities of the fiery free life, there will invariably be one constant feature of that life, whatever it takes me, wherever it takes me. I will bow down to the saints whom I adore, the musts whom I worship, and the poor to whom I am wholeheartedly devoted. Nothing makes me more happy than the opportunities to bow down to God in all these forms. I like bowing down to the people rather than being bowed down to. To serve and worship God all around me is closest to my heart. In the fiery free life, all the frailties of the ego life are completely consumed. And there is complete emancipation from all wants, desires, and temptations. And the result of this fiery free life will make the world understand that Meher Baba and everyone is one with God. Meher Baba.
Thank you, Charles. Wow.
I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, what is, there's nothing to say about that Baba speaks for himself. But one thing to say is, this is what he had read out to the people there. And imagine, how it must have felt for them to hear this with him sitting there in front of them. And so before these darshan programs in the various places Baba went, he indeed did go out incognito, as it were, with a couple of some of the mandali, and they looked for local saints and months for Baba to bow down to. So he did that, and then before the darshan program began, he had time set aside, a place set aside to wash the feet of 7 poor and bow down to them and give them each 51 rupees. That rare time Baba actually, touched money. So then the darshan, and the darshan everywhere, as you know, in those 35 days, was indeed the fiery free life. It was very fiery. Baba set the whole place on fire from the north to the south. I mean, it was just, from all description, just this burning love, outpouring of love that Baba, of course, gave, and then it came back through the hearts of those there. And they were just, so, filled with this fiery love, and consumed. I think I read in one place somewhere, they said, maybe it was Lord Mayor, that 80,000 people all told had Baba's darshan during that period. And it started in November 18th, 1952. So just days after the fiery free life began. This was his expression of the fiery free life, this time in Hamirpur. It's not an historical event, in my opinion. Now, this is a little bit just my little take, and what can I say? Baba says, though, that everything is in the eternal now. And what happened then happens now. It's not with him, there's no time, there's no space, it just is. And we can experience it now because it is. That's how I feel. If we respond to the stories, if we want to talk about Hamirpur and Baba and all that, what is that? It is because it's now. And we feel it. We feel it. We feel we're there. Yeah, so what a thing. Um, and you know, of course, better than I probably that the lengths that they went to prepare for Baba coming. I mean, that's a touching part of the story. They went all out because this is a rural district in India, but I mean, then even more. And you know, so for example, they had to build, you probably remember this, a pontoon bridge over the Juma River so that Baba's car could get across. Otherwise, they would all have to wade and deep, you know, I don't know how deep they wouldn't be able to get across. So they built it. And typical of Baba, though, he changed his plan and said he's coming earlier. And there they are, you know, and trying to build this thing and nowhere near finishing. And Baba's coming like that. So this is, if anything's consistent about Baba, anything, it's that he changes his plan. And, and he usually changes it to make it sooner than later. Sometimes, like coming to the United States to the center, it was later than sooner.
Work that we did together, but also just catch-ups over margaritas and chips.
Now I'm hearing somebody talk. I don't know who it is. What's that? Somebody that wasn't
Don't
my
worry, it got
household.
remuted. Somebody, the person got muted. Sorry.
It sounded good. I mean, I'm there. Margaritas and chips. To give me the address. No. I thought it was something about Hamirpur, and I said, I don't think they probably had margaritas on that trip. I don't think so. Well, anyway, that was funny. So, but you know, that's how he was. He would change. So anyway, he's coming now early. They had to finish this thing. And of course, by his grace, working day and night, they finished the pontoon bridge the night before he was to arrive. And when he came, his car came. It was the first to cross the bridge. Fortunately, they did a good job. Otherwise, he would have gone in the river. But he made it. They went across, and of course, then they had to make roads because there were a lot of these places, these remote villages. There were no such thing as roads. In fact, some of these places they never had a car go there. This is the first car. So naturally, the little paths were not sufficient. So they had to clear and make roads everywhere. And oh my gosh, so you know, it was just this huge, and it was such a joy. And as the time approached, you know, schools closed, businesses closed. I mean, everything just shut down, right? Because because the excitement. I mean, just their hearts were just burning with love and excitement to have him come. They, you know, they had asked Baba, you know, many times to come and all that. So here he is. He's fulfilling their great dream. And oh, the outpouring, you know, of and the work, which, you know, always pleases Baba when people, you know, I mean, he's doing it all. And truly, that's what he says, that we do nothing. So there's that. But he loves it that we do all that we can do wholeheartedly, even though we do nothing. That's what Baba expects. And so that's what they did. And the famous example of someone who gave his all to get to Baba, this is, I think there's you know, and you all can tell me after, when I remember seeing a film. Somebody's not muted. I don't know who it is, but I'm hearing them. Uh, there's a film clip of this man, in one of the films with Baba. Anyway, he's the one who, you know, some villages were so remote they had to go to a village, you know, that was near enough so they could go.
That cut healthcare
So-
to some
so-
undocumented immigrants in the state. I want
Is
you to
that-
listen to her rationale there.
Is is that who's still not muted? I think maybe that was Prudence. She just muted. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Just checking because I'm hearing all kinds of things. So anyway, he had to go from his little village to another Maine village where they were going to have the darshan. And you remember, this is the guy who decided that he was going to go 27 miles and prostrate himself to move, right? You know, the whole time. He wasn't going to eat, he wasn't going to drink, he wasn't going to stop. He was going to prostrate himself. And that's how he got there, you know, inch by inch. And he arrived, you know, all full of dust and, you know, I guess completely exhausted. And Baba was so touched and pleased and gave him a big embrace. You know, I mean, such love Baba inspired in him, such devotion. And when Baba one day, now, so here comes the little story that Erich told me. I think he told it to me on a walk, you know, I don't remember that it was in Mondley Hall. You know, sometimes by Baba's grace, I got to go a little early and Erich would let me come and walk with him in the mornings. And and maybe I remember so many things he told me as being on the walk because that was my happiest time, you know, when I was there are those walks. But anyway, I think the story was told on one of those walks. How it came up, I don't know. But he said, yeah, he said, maybe he was saying how Baba, yeah, how he thinks of everyone, how he would do anything for his lovers, for just one of his lovers, what he would do, how he would go out of the way. You know, look at what he did to find the muss, you know, traveling to 300 different places in India and you know, over these in the 40s and just hardships and everything else, just, you know, one must in some remote place like this. So we must have been, that was the conversation, I think. And so he said, well, yeah, he said, yeah, you know, when we went to Hamirpur first time, yeah, and then he described all the things that they did that I just mentioned. You know, yeah, you know, they created these roads for him. You know, they prepared everything. Had this pandal for darshan, so beautifully decorated. Every place was like that. No matter how small the village, they had that. Yeah, he said it was something to see. No doubt, something great to see. And yeah, so this one place they went, and it happened to be Hamirpur, I believe, that's right. And Baba gave out, you know, they had all this route prepared for him to get to the darshan and all that. And I remembered when I got back from the trip that it was actually after darshan, he was leaving. Everyone, you know, who could be there was there. And now he's leaving, he's in the car, and they are all surrounding the car, which they did for miles. and then they would run after the car. Baba tried to discourage it and all that, and finally Baba just gave up. If they, they could not help themselves. Just they would run, they would touch it, So this is what was happening, but then, as they were going down the road that was prepared for him, he suddenly stopped the car, had the driver stop. And Baba said, um, I want you to go that way. And someone said, well, yeah, Baba, that's a path, the only path. Has not been prepared. They prepared this road, so there's this route here. Yeah, so this is the route. Something, to just explain to Baba, that and Baba said, no. Well, I wanted to go that way, and of course, that's what Baba wants, and so the car headed that way, and everybody, of course, following along, and then Baba directed the driver, and they went this sort of remote part of the area, and they finally came upon this hovel, really. I mean, you could barely call it a hut. I mean, it was a hovel. I mean, it was just very primitive and broken down. And in front of it was this very old couple, clearly impoverished people, had nothing. And they lived in this hovel. And it turns out, later they found out that this couple, being very old and all that, they wanted so much to have his darshan. But what could they do? In their condition and all that, they could barely do anything. And how would they get there and all that? They couldn't. But and I forgot this, Alan, when I told the story before, but Arish said, but he said, the husband, he thought, maybe my love for him would draw him to come to this place, to our hut. And the wife was so skeptical. Well, why? First of all, we haven't even invited him. And secondly, this place, do you look where we are? Look how far it is. Look how broken down it is. There's so many nice places he could go. Better than this. Why would he? And but the husband, said, well, and he prepared a little place outside the hut the best he could, just in case, like a little raised place, so if Baba did come, there'd be a spot for him. And he just, I mean, and then that day, they looked up, and there he was. There he was. There's such joy they had. Their tears flowed. It was just beyond anything they could have ever imagined. And Baba came to them, he embraced them. He went into their hut, and he sat on that spot that the man had prepared for him. And Eric said, you see, see, that's how he was. Yeah. No one knows that. I mean, how, you don't know that, but that's how he was. today they built a temple on that spot. Where that man had this conviction that his love might draw the beloved to their place. There's a similar incident. There's so many things, but I thought as long as I was asked to relate this one, then there's a similar one in Mahiba. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Maheva, Mahiba, the village. And which actually in 1954 is the village where Baba first declared, spelled out on the board, as you know, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. That was a seminal moment, in Baba's advent. And remember, as Baba says, the fiery free life, this is the time when
News you can use.
the old life and the perfect master and the perfect seeker are now the God man, fully free. And so that's when this happens. Baba's releasing his divinity and his humanity as seamless. They're one now in this phase of his last phase of his life. He called free life. So fiery free life is this part of it. But this was the same place earlier in 1952, of course, but Baba went to Mahiva, and a hut was being built. Turns out that's the same hut where Baba was in 54 and declared his avatar. But this was when it was being built because there was no suitable place, they felt, for Baba in the village. It's no suitable spot for him to go into, to rest, whatever. None of their huts seemed good enough. So they said, well, build it. We'll build one. And Baba had said, this is when I'm going to come, and I'm sure you're way ahead of me. Baba changed his plan and told them, I'll be there early. Well, what to do? How are we going to, how is it possible now to finish this in time? And a number of people working to do it, but there was one man in particular who made it happen. He was an untouchable, they called them. Gandhi called them Harajans. You could call them anything, but they were, in the 1950s, they were untouchable. They had nothing. They did all the lowest things that nobody could do, the impure things, as you know, handle bodies, clean toilets, whatever it was. And of course, Baba in his whole life, time going back to the earliest days, was breaking that down. And that was easy to see. For example, giving himself the assignment at the Mad Ashram in Rahuri of being the one to clean the latrines every day, which is unthinkable, at that time, especially in India. Well, it's still a bit unthinkable for anyone who is not an outcast to do that work. And of course, as you know, he had untouchable boys in the school. He made Brahmins who came to see him to pay their respects and all that. He made them do what he did. He washed them, served them. So this is nothing new. This is his lifelong commitment that Baba made to change consciousness. But then you could see outwardly some of the things that he was doing inwardly, which is this man, Baba, working through this man who was a cobbler and untouchable, and and he volunteered to work on this hut. And he decided when the new date came that he would simply work ceaselessly, round the clock. He wouldn't take food. He wouldn't take rest. He would just do it. And that's what he did. And he finished it. Just before Baba arrived, it was done. And then on the day that Baba came to give darshan, he was too ill to go. You know, I mean, he couldn't get out of bed. He was very sick. And he couldn't leave his place. So he missed it. The next morning, this cobbler, this untouchable, he was in his little hut and he heard a crowd approaching. So he sort of stumbled out of his bed. He looked out and he was shocked to see Baba. Baba was coming towards the hut. And he was shocked. And his first thought was, oh no, I have nothing to offer. You know, and the tradition is that if the master comes, you must have some offering, flowers or fruits, something. He had nothing. So he stumbled out of the door and ran up to Baba and grasped his feet. And he poured out his love to Baba. And then he said, Baba, please don't enter my miserable hut. I have nothing. I have nothing to give you. And Baba had one of the mandali come and pick this man up, carry him inside. And Baba followed. And then Baba sat down on the rickety bed where the man was lying there. And Baba caressed him. And he said to him, your love is the most precious offering that you can give. Your love is the most precious offering that you can give. Jai Baba.
Well, for someone who hasn't been to Hamirpur, you certainly gave us an experience of being there in Hamirpur. We are so grateful to you, Charles.
Thank you. I'm grateful to
brought
Baba.
us there. Thank you. Thank you, Baba. Does anyone have anything to ask of Charles or would like
Hi,
to share
Wayne.
something?
Tina, hi. Hi, Tina.
Uh,
Richard are you raising a hand, Richard?
Hi,
Sure.
Charles.
Sure.
Hi. Who's that?
Tina.
Oh, hi, Tina. Oh, thank you. Hi. Good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear you. And I want to tell you that my son came back to me.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes.
I'm very happy to hear that. Baba's grace.
Yes, promised me that, and he made good on his promise.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Hmm. So, Richard, did you
Yes.
want to say something?
Yes, two quick things. First,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Charles, for your important thoughts and words, and what lovely memories. Thank you. The second one is you do a really good Erich. Most of us here, I think, are old enough to what's his name, to remember a couple of the other. I can't think of people now who did impressions of other people. Rich Little. You're as good as Rich Little doing Richard Nixon.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Well,
But thank you for very wonderful and important words.
that's well, that's uh, Erich gave me so much, and I really hear him. So that's why I'm able to do it. I hear him. There are two voices I hear more, most of all, besides the beloved, and that's uh, Elizabeth. I hear what she's going to say sometime every day, something. And then Erich, I hear what he's saying. So, yeah, Baba was very, very gracious to give me so much with time with him. Yeah.
What were the occasions when you would be walking in the morning with Erich?
What were they?
Yeah, like
Yeah. Well, just any day pilgrims were going to come. But, every morning he took a walk, early walk. And, sometimes in the later days, maybe Fallow would go with him or, someone maybe, but every day he took a walk. And it just happened that I don't know, one of the 70s sometime I just said, I'd love to walk with you sometime. And he said, yeah, why not? Yeah, you can come. And so I would get up, at dark. It was dark, and have this wonderful rickshaw person who was a very sweet man, and he would come and take me to Meherazad, and it would still be dark when we arrived, lanterns out, and we'd have some breakfast there, and yeah, no, maybe we walk and we have some breakfast before the bus came, all that. So it was just the early, early morning hours. Yeah. I try not to take advantage of it. In fact, one visit I didn't mention, I didn't want to be presumptuous. And finally, towards the last part of the visit, I couldn't help myself and I just said something about I love to walk. He says, yeah, but you have to ask me. In other words, he couldn't just do it like that. It was because I would ask, so I learned my lesson. Anyway, those are precious times. Yeah.
and what was
Tina's got her
breakfast?
hand raised.
Tina,
You want
yeah,
to
Tina.
unmute? Was that from before, Tina, or is there something additional that you'd like to share or ask? You're
You're
muted, right?
muted.
Yeah. You muted, Tina.
I
There you go.
don't have a question.
Oh,
Well, we'll talk soon. We sometimes talk.
So what was for breakfast?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, simple thing. We tea, uh, chapatis. Yeah, not it wasn't not much else really. I don't know. I mean, they call it breakfast, but well, it was pretty sparse breakfast. I didn't mind because I didn't really expect any breakfast, but just sitting there with them was so nice. Yeah. Pindu. There were so many of them still there then.
Would they just sit around on the veranda,
Yeah.
or would they go?
Yeah, they'll sit there. Yeah. Halaba and all that. And yeah, just sit and make jokes. Yeah. They might provoke Alaba like that. Eric should say, yeah. You say, yeah. He says, there's no TV. We have no TV. Except we have him. We have Alaba. He is our TV. And so then he would say, yeah, watch this. And then he would say something disparaging about Iran. And Alaba would get fiery. He'd stand up and he'd start shouting and like this. And Eric said, yeah, see how it is. Yeah. Yeah, they were really something. Yes, Betty. You're muted though, still.
With
There
all,
you go.
I want to thank you for bringing this piece of it, this Baba, what Baba had to say, the fiery free life speech, and the various stories of the things that happened. This is an aspect to this Hamirpur Tales series that we haven't had. I really appreciate
Oh,
the
yeah.
the dimension that you've brought to it. It's wonderful.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. I was afraid that I would be saying all these things that you've already said
Oh,
so I'm happy. That makes me happy. Yeah.
it's been personal stories. And so thank you. You're for your edition. That's all.
Yes, we certainly
Martha.
all feel, okay, Marta,
Yeah.
go ahead, Marta. You,
Charles, I
you
wanted
need
to
you-
say that I can freely say that I know nothing about Hamirpur, those days, the fiery free life. It's all confusing to me. All I know is a new life. So you think that all of us knew all this stuff. I never heard this stuff before. And I've been with Bob a long time, but I'm not a reader. So it's much more fun to listen to you, of course.
Well,
So I
thank
feel
you.
very educated now about the
Yeah.
fiery free life,
Yeah.
even though I don't understand it. But I'd love to hear Baba's words. Thank you for bringing that here. And when I
Oh.
saw that you were going to speak, I thought, well, what is Charles going to say about Hamirpur? Because
Yeah, that's what I thought.
we see you in certain places that you talk about certain things, and I thought, well, it doesn't matter what Charles talks about. I'm going to go listen to him.
Oh,
So
that's so sweet.
I
Thank
was
you.
correct. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, I didn't know either, but then, I thought, well, Alan was prompted it because of the story that Erich told, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought, actually, I have a lot of feelings about Hamirpur, and it's just been such a part of Baba's life. So I was so happy to be able to spend time thinking about that, and uh, and what he did and said then and is saying now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think in the future, fiery free life will be very significant to people. It's just we're so close to it now, and the new life does get all the attention. Um, but I read it so you don't have to, Marta. No, I enjoy it, but I wasn't much. But I'm a Pindu person. I spent all my time sitting with Pindu, and he doesn't read. He didn't read anything. Nothing. I mean, God speaks. He doesn't read. He didn't read anything. and so we would joke about it that he didn't. Didn't read. But uh, but I have come to realize that. Uh, uh, there's such a joy now. These Tiffin lectures and these books that Ward put together, create Cosmos and whatever it is, creation and its causes. Oh my gosh! And I would be the first person a number of years ago to say, oh, I don't know, those thick books, all those footnotes, it sort of all sounds the same to me. But the more I got into it, the more I realized, oh my gosh, there's so much that I didn't have any awareness of about Baba. Not just things he said, but just the flavor of him talking to high school kids and how he communicated to high school kids about this is all a dream and the imageries he uses. It just gave me a whole new appreciation for Baba. So yeah, so now books, I'm back to books.
Thank you so much,
my old
Charles. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
What happens? Do they give you the hook?
We have to make way for the evening art.
Okay. Well, all right.
And,
Just one more thing from
starts
Alan.
in less than 2 minutes. I see Alan's got his hand up there. You want to say something? Jump in for 30 seconds, Alan, or we don't have much time.
Maybe a
Good to
minute.
see you.
Yeah, I don't have a whole 30 seconds, but it's great to see you, Charles.
Great to see you.
Love seeing you. And no, I just wanted to say that I had some sort of awareness that, with you speaking and I was really getting a feel of the personal touch of Baba's grace in these stories and the personal side of even us asking, like, what was it like to sit with Erich, or what was it, just these moments are very rare that we're in right now in this period. And there will be a time when we don't have anyone that, had these experiences to share or remember someone even who had these experiences. So it's I feel very blessed, even though I didn't get to meet Baba, that I feel his presence in the now, like you said. I feel him when you speak, and I'm very grateful for you. So
thank you. And I'm very grateful for you, as you know.
Yeah.
As you well know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alan, for inviting me. It's been lovely.
And we like to conclude with 3 Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jays. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Avatar
Meher Baba
Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Hey, thank you so much, Charles. We love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.